Good day, Madam Chair, Madam Secretary General, and Your Excellencies. To understand the context and the picture I'm about to paint, you want to understand the canvas that we're working with. So I'm from the island of Montserrat, which is the smallest island in the CTO, and that was before there was a volcanic eruption. So we had a volcanic eruption in 1995 and 3/4 of the population left. So we are now down to 1/4 of our population and 1/3 of our landmass. But because we are the smallest doesn't mean that our ambition has to match the smallest of our country, has to transcend the smallest of the country. So we embarked on a mission of green, connected and thriving, some work that was done to the CTU and Miss Bernadette here when we did our ICT and energy policy, that by 2030 we should be completely green and we should be completely broadband connected. So in terms of the energy part, we are currently tendering for the construction of a geothermal plant, and we're expecting 2 years to be 100% producing all our power from green energy sources in a cheap and efficient way. In terms of fiber, in 2019, we got back our fiber connection back to the island, and the government of Montserrat went on a plan to connect all of its citizens, 2,000 or something households, completely to fiber to their premises. So there was a concessionary scheme that was done, Project Lightspeed, where vouchers were given to all citizens and to the telcos, the two telcos, Digital and Flow, to connect anybody that wants. They'll be paid by the government of Montserrat to do that connection. So far, over 80% of the population have been connected, so we are now in a state that by the end of the year, we expect to basically have all our citizens connected to the fiber network. There are just some small areas that, because they're not utility poles and because of ash in the manholes, we haven't been able to get the fiber connection to those homes, but we expect to resolve that problem soon. But Madam Chair, as you point out, the purpose of the technology is to connect people and to provide services to the citizens. So although you have the technological solutions in terms of fiber and all the hardware side, the challenges that we are facing is on the software. And how do you get services now that you have fiber, now that you're going to get green energy? How do you get those services to actually help the citizens? Because having the technology is fine, but how do you help the citizens? So it's to get assistance in terms of, we're in a process of trying to digitize government and to digitally transform the island. So it's assistance in how does one go forward with that, what services are necessary, what software should be put in place, the regulatory regime that has to be changed, the laws that have to be changed to allow this to happen. And because of the smallness of the island and the smallness of the investment relative to some of the other countries that we speak, we do believe that it is possible to achieve this dream so that by 2030 we can be green, connected, and thriving. And one of the other issues that we have because of the smallness is to attracting people to work on the island. So on the regulatory side, we're trying to obtain a spectrum manager for the longest while. So if you know anybody who wants to move to a tropical island with crime-free, and with all of these things, we're asking you to contact us and we'll have a discussion about it. But that's where we are, as is the island of Montserrat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. You are extremely fortunate to have fibre come all the way to such a small island indeed. Congratulations on that. You highlighted two areas where you're struggling because of logistical challenges. Do you anticipate that satellite could be a potential solution in these areas, or are you holding out for fibre?
We're holding out for fibre in the sense that because of the smallness, but it's possible that satellite is a solution, but because of the smallness of the market, we're not sure if the providers would find a viable option to provide that service. But also, we live in the hurricane zone, and just last week, even though you have fiber to the island, Anguilla got their lines cut, and it completely removed internet access throughout the entire island. So although you have the fiber to the island, there's only one link, so if that gets cut, you will lose internet connectivity. So in terms of a backup solution in terms of hurricane and disaster resilience, I do see that, yes, satellite can play a role in that.
Excellent. If you will allow me, my colleague from Mozambique's not going to thank me for this, but I have to say it. You make a very important point about the disasters. As Mozambique learned after Cyclone Idai, one of the most important mistakes made was to phase out satellite once fiber arrived. And now Mozambique has, thank you, started bringing satellite back for this point of redundancy, and hopefully also as an interim solution precisely where you are still waiting for fiber. So maybe Montserrat will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you.